Welcome to the one, the only Tattoo Podcast Interviews. I'm your host, John.
And I'm the co-host, Sadie.
And we have a couple guests on our show today. I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Skylar Hense.
And I'm Tim Hense.
Thank you for coming on the show, you guys. We appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right on. So I think we'll just get right into it, you guys. You guys are brothers, right?
Yep.
Right on. So who's the older brother?
That's me.
So you're the older little brother.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yes. Right on. So since you're the older brother, man, maybe we'll just ask you first, where did you guys get your start? Are you guys both from the same spot? Or?
Yeah, we both grew up here in Spokane. I grew up here and then moved over to Pullman to go to school for 4 years, graduated from there, and then moved back here and been here since.
That's what's up. So kind of same scenario for you?
Yeah, well, actually, I didn't go to school over in Pullman. I just went to community college here, and so I've never left. I'm born here and just kind of stayed.
So as a toddler, you went into community college? That's insane, man. So your K through 5 was the same school as him?
Yeah, we went to Indian Trail Elementary School.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. And that's just the name of it, or is that a...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So you guys are originally from, where'd you say?
From here, actually.
From Spokane?
I was actually born at Deaconess Hospital.
Oh, that's cool. I have a kid that was born at Deaconess.
Yeah.
1 out of 3. Or did we have more there?
No, we had two at Sacred and one on Mission.
Yeah. So anyway, let's hear something about your guys' childhood coming up. Whenever you guys want to start it off, wherever you want to start it from.
Well, growing up, we had a religious childhood. Up until 9 years old for me, it was we had church in our living room. My dad was a pastor. Every Sunday, we held church there, and we had Sunday school, and we were Boy Scouts, and we did baseball, soccer, stuff like that. And at the age of 9, my parents ended up adopting like a group of 5 Russian kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
From Vladivostok.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Way to get the story going, man. So
That's pretty
I'll just
cool.
add on to that. This is why I love the podcast. It's just kind of learning a little bit about stuff that you might not have ever known without, having a guest on the show.
Right.
Growing up in a religious household, that was definitely not something that I'm aware of. We grew up kind of roughnecking it, you know what I mean? But is that something that you look back on and you love, or is it something that was kind of hard to go through, or how's that upbringing?
Honestly, it was an experience, just to say the least. It's a mixed bag. I wouldn't change it.
Right.
How about you?
I would say it was definitely a learning experience, a culture shock for sure.
Right.
The 5 Russian kids that my parents had adopted are all siblings of one another, so they were a family of their own.
That's
wow.
amazing.
That's crazy.
To be an adopted kid, because I was in the system, and you literally watch your siblings leave. You wave by and they're gone forever. You know what I mean? So to keep 5 kids together, God bless your parents for that, for sure.
Yeah, they were good people. But it was also like the Russian orphanages over there were really rough on the kids that they had. Like my parents had brought them toys and candy and stuff, and within a day they were beat up, and their toys and candy were all taken away by other people who lived there, other kids, and
wow.
It was a rough go for them over there. And
at what age are you guys during this? How old are you?
I had just turned 8. I had actually turned 8 when my parents were over in Russia, and he was 9 already. And the kids were 3, 4, 7, 11, and 13.
Holy.
Wow.
So
there was more of them than there was of you guys. So your bedroom you weren't sharing your room. They were sharing it with you, basically. But you have some.
Right.
Because the loaf of bread, over half of it went to them for sandwiches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And did you guys feel a connection, like a sibling connection?
Not right away. It was actually more of a kind of standoffish thing, because the adoption agency spread these really awful rumors to them, saying that we were only adopting them to like harvest their organs when ours went bad.
Oh my god!
And we're telling them that our parents had nothing good in store.
So they
for
were
them.
terrified.
Yeah, they were horrified.
They were like, "What are these people going to do to us?"
Right.
Holy
So,
shit,
do you
that's
guys
scary.
happen to know the reason for Russian children? Was there war going on or something that was despair in the country at that time? Or
So actually, the reason why my parents had adopted the 5 Russian kids is my mom had 5 miscarriages in a row.
oh my god,
And so she saw the ad for the 5 Russian siblings at church, and she goes, "These are the 5 kids that I was supposed to have."
so something happened to these kids' parents tragically, or taken away from by the state, or
They
is
were
that
taken
something
away
that's
by the
okay?
state,
So
yeah.
just neglect.
Yeah.
Man, that's
like
unfortunate.
Severe
That's
neglect
sad.
and abuse, and
And to find a house for 5 Russian kids all the way in America, and they get to go together, that's insanely amazing.
yeah, it was really awesome of my parents to be able to do that. Thinking back to it now,
Right.
And-
as an 8-year-old, you don't understand.
Right.
You
And
have-
did they raise them all to completion, so to say, like till they were 18 or whatever, moved out the house?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, they all kind of got into the wrong crowd
Right.
and kind of did their own thing. Some of them got into like drugs and prostitution.
That's unfortunate, man.
Yeah.
They didn't take the opportunity. They were obviously headed down somewhat of a steep path, right, with their rough beginning.
Right.
And it's just unfortunate. Genetics play a big role in that, you know.
Sure.
I didn't meet my father essentially till I was a teenager. I mean, maybe once or twice here or there, but everything made sense like a snowball as soon as I really met him.
Right.
From liking to fish or catch little critters like snakes and lizards, you know, to whatever I do, like, you know, to make money or whatever, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Or business or whatever. So genetics play a bigger role than a lot of people think. So you're not destined for failure, but some people might have a bigger adversity to overcome just from your blood.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus experience too. They had a really rough go at it up until the adoption too. Like all the way up into the orphanage, they had experienced just about every like type of abuse that you could.
Right.
One of our sisters had just about like 3rd-degree burns, disfiguring scars from like fingertip all the way up her arm from being dunked in like boiling water.
Oil.
Yeah,
It was oil.
And it's like that's the type of stuff that you'd see, and
That's
Yeah, that's
horrible.
torture, man.
That's absolutely ridiculously horrible.
They don't make a small enough caliber, or a dull enough knife to take out people that hurt kids like that, you know?
Right.
yeah, so it's really just it's a mixture of the two. So it's an experience that I would not trade for anything. And yeah, at first it was difficult to build those bonds, difficult to like have that connection. But truly, those are my brothers and sisters. Like and you build those connections.
So are they instilling communications? Do you guys have holidays together, or, you know, any nephews, nieces on either side? Is there aunt and uncle celebrated between you guys?
So there is some communication still. Our adopted brother's in jail right now, so you can't really communicate with him very well. He's kind of in and out of jail quite a bit. So he also has his own like mental struggles and things that he has to deal with.
Is it circumstantial? What I mean by that is, like, you have to commit a crime to end up there, but you don't have to commit a crime to keep going there. So, like, per se, like me, I got in trouble for marijuana one time, and then I would violate my probation by smoking marijuana. So, have I been to jail? Hell yeah. Have I been a lot of times? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But only broke the law one time and was arrested for it. Just all the others were by, you know, violating probations and shit like that. So I just don't see that being as bad of like recidivism as if you're just out there breaking the law, get out, break the law again, get out, break, you know what I mean? So is it circumstantial, or does he keep breaking the law?
Well, it's per person. He is definitely one of those ones that's kind of a repeat offender. He keeps getting himself into trouble. And so, like, for instance, last time he got into trouble, he had stolen a car because he thought somebody was following him.
Oh, yeah.
And stole a Monte Carlo. and was driving it around, and he had dope with him. So police,
that'll do it. I mean,
Right.
the police pulled up, and he tried running one of them down, so they shot him up.
Shit.
So,
oh my God! So your brother was shot by the Spokane police?
like 9 times, yeah.
Wow.
9 times, Jesus Christ! And he lived.
Yep.
Wow.
Man,
That's
you know, I
surprising.
don't
That's-
like to take light heart to situations like that. I have teardrops tattooed on my face for exactly those situations, things like that, where the cops have taken it a little far, you know.
Sure.
But I mean, I wasn't there. You're the one that said he was trying to run them down. You know, I don't want it to be distasteful.
Sure.
I know what I would do if somebody was trying to run me down.
Right, right.
But I also know that, you know, their terminology can be pretty loose sometimes.
Right,
I've
yeah.
seen them almost get run down when the car is blocked in by all
Right.
4 angles and somebody's
even come
revving the
close to
engine.
them. Right.
And the dude's standing on the hood by choice. You know, nobody put his ass up there.
Yeah.
But he had to plug her 10 times in the face through the windshield because she was trying to ram him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. You know, we were just talking about this earlier today, that I don't know where society went wrong with the policing. It went too far somewhere. We never should have given a group of new hirees a deadly weapon with the right to make that choice.
Right.
And I mean, you have to catch them on 4 different camera angles. It has to be, you know, a 1,000,000-man march behind it for them to actually be found guilty. You know, unfortunately, like some of the communities, like African American community, are at a greater disadvantage to the police force for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we've all seen it, and it happens to everybody. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Even disabled people. I seen a video where a disabled guy had kind of went off on his mom or whatever, and she was elderly, so she called for some assistance, and they shot her son right in front of her. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's
I refuse to call the police. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know you could be giving somebody a death sentence. You know?
Right.
There's actually a statistic, and I don't remember what it is. If somebody wants to look it up, feel free. But you are a certain amount more likely to die just in the presence of a police officer. That's fucked up.
Right.
Well, emergency services, like it always feels like to me, I feel like in police, I'm always scared.
Right.
When they show up, I'm scared when police show
Right.
up.
No
but-
matin what, even if you didn't do anything, you're
Right.
like shaking,
I'm not doing
nervous,
anything
sweating.
wrong.
Like,
I'm feeling fidgety when police
They just
show
make
up.
you feel
but,
that way, yeah.
Firefighters, I'm happy with
Right,
a firefighter
right.
when I see them. They're my heroes, and it's like, you know, paramedics feel the same way.
Right.
And police officers, not so much.
Right.
Usually.
I think that there's absolutely time and place for everything. It's like this. If you think that you don't like the police force, then don't call nobody when your mom calls you in the middle of the night, says there's somebody in her backyard. You know what I mean? That's what the police are for, is for the little old lady who hears a noise. You know what I'm saying? But let's not get off on the tangent on that anyway. You know what I mean? I could, yell at the police all day long. So you guys grew up with your brothers and sister, you said? Okay.
Yep.
And your brother's in jail. Your sister, is that the one that partook in the prostitution, or you have a
there
freaky
was,
little brother?
there was one of them that partook in that and drugs, and she's actually not around anymore. She was actually murdered.
Oh my God.
oh man.
Yeah, she just got in the wrong crowd and owed the wrong people money, and
Oh
she
my
was
God,
with the wrong
man.
guy, and
That's horrible.
yeah, it was a murder-suicide. He
Holy
shot her,
shit.
then shot himself, and
Oh my God, man.
And that was here in Spokane.
Yeah, it was
just downtown.
Rid Path downtown.
Yeah, let's see the level of, because you guys, we don't pre-screen these conversations, so, you know what I mean? I'm just as in shock as you are probably as the viewer. That's incredibly unfortunate for your family and for your sister. So she was hanging out with the wrong crowd, and it cost her the ultimate price.
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys, I would assume, use as like a tool in your life to make better decisions?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's available for everybody, man. We could literally take a 5-minute walk, all go in different directions and meet back here, and at least 3 of the 4 of us could bring something back. And, you know, that's pretty risky business when you have loved ones out there that are struggling with addiction or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Spokane, we see it all the time. We hear the sirens, you see the Facebook posts, you know what I'm saying? Another overdose. We actually have Narcan in our tattoo shop. You know what I mean? Just in case. I mean, we care about people. It's not a life that we choose to live, but, you know, if it's as simple as having some Narcan on deck when you know it's an epidemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying? So that's 2 out of the 5, you said?
Yeah, there's 5.
So the other 3, how are they faring?
So the other younger sister, she's kind of off into crime and gang. She has a gang affiliation, and we don't hear much from her. And I think partially is because she's kind of made her mind up with how she's going to live her life.
Right.
How old is she?
Now she's 23.
Okay, so very well off on her own, doing her thing. So, I mean, it's never too late. You know, you might even be watching this podcast. We're not going to name drop, but you might be watching this podcast and just know you got people that love you. It's never too late to make a better decision. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm 44 years old. I suck at life, but I suck a lot less for the last 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I get that.
So it's never too late to make a positive change for in bettermenting of your life. You know what I mean? So how about the other 2?
The second oldest, she's actually doing really well. We're in constant contact. She's got a son who's 10.
Awesome.
She just got engaged.
Good, man.
And she's with the love of her life, and she's doing well. She just bought a house.
That was like drinking a giant glass of cold lemonade on a really hot day after all the, you know, you know, so that's
it's awesome seeing updates from her. She's doing really, really well, and she's super happy, and she has her own little family. It's really awesome to see.
That's good.
That's amazing. And are your parents still here?
My mom is. My dad, he passed away in 2016.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear it.
Sorry about that.
Your mom, she's still in contact?
Yep.
And she's grandma to the new babies and stuff? And that's awesome. Everybody went to the wedding or is going?
I'm not sure yet. I think we got to kind of still work some stuff out and figure out like what she's planning on doing.
That's what's up.
I think that's the goal.
That's what's up. Okay, so that basically wraps it up for your siblings and kind of a recap on them. What did you decide to do with your life all the way down at the end, like from leaving high school, starting your way into life? I want to be a construction worker, or how I have it. What was your path in life? What did you do?
Funny enough, so I left high school with the intention of starting a bar. Starting a bar, and I went into business classes.
Were you gonna turn water into wine?
I was gonna start a little podunk bar down.
I got this.
Exactly, some just terrible bar because it's a terrible idea. And so I started taking business classes down in Washington State, but then it quickly changed because I hated statistics and microeconomics. It was terrible. It was mainly just because of my professor who was just droning in class and put me to sleep. But I changed, and then I changed to something about like sciences, where it was like chemistry, biology, and then I ended up like maximizing all these like courses on top of myself and just overloading myself, burning myself out.
And it was not enjoyable at that point.
100%. It was just
the idea was amazing, man. Like
trying to get it all done all at the same time. It was like, I'm just gonna get it all done.
Yeah.
I had one art elective course, like a drawing course at one point. And it was like the most refreshing thing in the world. And then from that point forward, I took only art courses. And I ended up graduating with an art degree, and it was like the most satisfying thing in the world. And to be honest, I don't use it in my work because I work for a financial institution.
Right.
I work in fraud prevention. So I get people's money back when they get hit by fraud.
Right.
So
Yeah, elaborate on that. I think you did bring this up at one point. You're sort of the Superman for old people.
yeah. When little old ladies hand money to people over through the internet, I basically get their money back. I am Superman.
That's right, you guys. You guys
That's
pick on
cool.
little old grandma. He's coming for you.
Right.
He's going to get that money back, and you might be facing criminal charges.
Yeah, and don't hand your retirement over. That's for sure. But if you do, call me. But really don't. I already have a whole bunch of people calling me.
Yeah, timeshares, she sheds, all that.
Yeah. Don't do that. It's not fun. But no, I actually do. So it's I work in a card services department. So we issue basically we do like debit card issuing and like transactions, stuff like that. So it's basically making sure that your debit cards work.
That's what's up. So you have access to debit cards. Could you get me a couple?
It's funny. It's actually really funny because like debit cards are one of the most like secure things of a financial institution.
Unless you work at Starbucks, because I seen the viral video of the girl coming through the drive-through, and the waitress pokes her head out the window, and the lady goes, "Yeah, you took a picture of my card and ran my number, didn't you?" Yeah.
People do that.
And she said, "I thought it was weird that you took off with my card for a minute and then brought it back." So when you're going through the drive-through, watch them swipe it, you know what I'm saying? Because if you get some untrustworthy person working for one of these small businesses, they take a picture of your number, they get your little information,
Right.
and somehow, some way, I don't know, because that's not my gig, but they get your money.
See, that is way less likely as opposed to someone just getting it by you giving it to them over
Right.
the phone.
Right.
Which it's just someone calling you saying that it's either a Vista or your phone bill, or
Right.
someone saying that they're going to shut off your service if you don't give them your card number, if you don't pay them right away.
Right.
I did have a questionable sales job at one point when I was younger.
Yeah.
It was magazines, and it was $3.38 a week or some shit like that. And it was 5-year subscription, so it all sounded really good until it went to the billing department, and they expedited the payments. You didn't get to pay for 5 years. You got to pay in 4 payments for 5 years, which made the payments like $380 a piece or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all those little tiny numbers compiled over 5 years, you just bought like over $1,000 worth of magazines, and you have like till tomorrow to pay for it, or else. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, all at the end?
I mean, yeah, you know what I mean? That's how it was. You buy the magazine subscription, blah, 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 it only costs this much. And then they would say, now it would be ridiculous for me to charge you your card for $3.36 a week. Wouldn't you agree? So, of course, anybody's going to agree with you when you say something wouldn't make sense, because that is implying that they're stupid.
Right.
So they don't do anything but agree with you. Oh, yeah, no, of course not. And then this much times this, and this is why the payment's that, and bing, bang, boom. And it's even worse than that at the end, because every Visa, MasterCard, Discovery, whatever, start with the same certain numbers in the front. And if you don't know that, and you have somebody call you, and I say, okay, go ahead with your card number, it starts with a 4, you're assuming that I'm going to cross-reference your card number, and you give it to me, just to make sure the one we have on file matches, basically. And that's not the case, you know what I mean? It's just every card starts with a certain number or whatever.
Right.
So have you ever been frauded yourself, or you're kind of like too savvy because you work in the department?
I've definitely had people try, and it's funny because of what I do for work. I get to mess with them back,
Right.
and I get to pretend like I don't know what I'm doing,
Right.
but I hold them on the line as long as possible and just
Right.
frustrate them as long as possible, and then
the same thing. It's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
annoying.
I'm sorry if you called my phone. I'm
hitting
fucking
as
with you,
many
yeah.
other people, as many other old people, young people, and then just causing as little damage as
Yeah.
what I can, because that's as few people coming back to me and causing me more work later.
Right.
Right. Right.
And how about your career path? How did that go? What
So
did you decide?
I was encouraged to follow my mother's footsteps because she's a registered nurse. So I didn't become a registered nurse, but I went into caregiving. And from there, I just kind of branched out and have worked in healthcare for almost 14 years now.
Nice.
So just kind of stayed with it and fell in love with it. Love helping people.
It's a hard one to get out once you get in.
Right.
I was
yeah.
a CNA for like 5 years.
Yeah.
I just got out like a year ago, and I'm like, it's nice, but I'm like, I want to go back, but I'm like, no, do you?
I knew this was a conversation for Sadie to take over.
Yeah, working with people and helping people is such a rewarding thing to do, and
It
to get
is.
paid to do it is. There's nothing better than that. Like it's like kind of like a dream job to have, where you can actually help people and bring your kindness to them in a way that they don't usually see a lot.
So
of the time.
give us a
Right.
funny story from the old folks home. Give it to us. Come on,
jeez.
let's
Yeah,
go.
there's a
Okay, so-
million.
Right, that's what I said. Let's
Yeah,
hear
there's
it.
a bunch of stories. You can have the good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right.
Right.
Then
I'll
we'll
start-
take them. We want a good, a bad, and ugly. You did it to yourself.
Okay. So a good would probably be I had this lady, so it's kind of a gross story, but I had this lady who was, you basically use a cherry picker to get her out of bed. It's called a Hoyer lift.
Right.
And you like put a sling underneath them and you lift them out of bed. Well, this one had a hole where her butt is. It's called a shower sling. And we'd get her out of bed, and this lady found it to be the most comical thing to try and crap in my shoes. And then one day it finally happened, and so you end up leaving work barefoot because you're like, I'm not wearing these shoes for the whole shift.
Hey, Susie, you
That's
got
why I
some
always
aim.
had shower shoes.
Yeah. You got some aim, girl. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, she was laughing, man. She was.
Wait, from the crane?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
straight
like
Oh,
through
yeah.
the pooper.
right down the ankle.
Oh yeah, they.
Palms away?
Yeah, she was laughing so hard.
Dang.
Yeah, and so that was probably one of the good stories because we were both laughing. I mean, after years of doing it, you kind of just get used to it.
Right.
It's not something
It's
that bothers
normal.
you anymore.
It's 100%.
You sort of
normal.
ruined it for me a little bit when you said like a cherry picker, and then you said it has a hole. I'm over here like, damn. A freaky motherfucking sex swing, you know what I'm saying? And then you said shit jumps. I said, it's not a sex
It
swing.
could be.
It's not a sex swing.
It really
Not a
could
sex
be.
swing.
Not my
pretty good
industry.
film.
This is not my industry.
No.
Yeah.
X-nay on this X-swing say.
right.
So that was the good story.
Right.
Fuck. I don't know if we want the bad and the ugly at this point, dude.
Right, yeah, so
Yeah,
the bad
shit,
would
it gets
probably
worse?
it gets a lot worse. So, like with those lifts, you're supposed to have two people at all times. It's just state
Yep.
law
Yep.
because you want to make sure that they're fastened correctly because they're like nylon hooks.
Why
They're
couldn't you be like your brother and open a fucking bar, bro?
Yeah, but as a CNA, you're always understaffed.
Holy shit.
so
I'm
having
sorry. Go
two
ahead.
people
So
at that
you're
is never
passionate
gonna
about this.
happen.
My bad.
Yeah, so with those lifts, you need two people. Well, there was this situation where we were short-staffed, and this lady just decided to try and get this person back into bed through their wheelchair, and you lift these people 5-6 feet in the air to be able to do it.
Right.
And one of the straps on the sling snapped,
Oh,
and there wasn't a second person to like help this lady down. So
You see what they're doing to your guys' grandma out there, man? You got to go check on them once in a while, make sure they're
That's
okay.
right. And she fell and fractured her skull, and
Yeah.
she didn't make it. She
Yeah.
lasted
What
another day, and
Wow,
crazy.
man.
yeah, it was like a murder scene to walk into.
Holy,
Basically,
bro. My bad for laughing 2 seconds before that.
Hey,
It happens.
You didn't know
it
where it
happens
was- where
all
it
the
was going.
time.
Yeah,
It
I
happens
didn't.
all
Goddamn.
the time.
So was that the bad or the ugly?
That was the bad.
Holy shit. Okay.
The ugly is probably when you see people get dropped off as like they're treated like a burden on their family. People drop family members off, and instead of ever coming back to visit them or anything, they'll move to another state
Man.
or they'll go somewhere else. And that I would say that categorizes as the ugly because you feel for these people. Like
Yeah, so I didn't think that was going to come up, man, but what you brought up kind of brought something up. So I have a handicap aunt, fully, I mean, I don't even know what it was called back then because all these new terminologies, you know what I mean? Like socially acceptable, I guess. But she was mentally retarded. You know what I mean? Disformed and disfigured in the face, short, like, you know what I mean? But it didn't count her out. She was a person, you know what I mean?
Right.
She was actually my favorite aunt, you know. She would make you clean your room, you know what I mean? And if you thought you didn't do it good enough, she'd come in there and she'd point stuff out and make you do it. You know, she was an aunt, you know what I'm saying? She was really special to us. My mom let the state basically have custody or whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying? So she was like a ward of the state or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But she would come home on some visits and stuff. And my mom asked us a couple times, do you guys want Auntie to come home? Like, we can have her. The state would have paid my mom to take care of her and this stuff, you know? And of course we did. We always wanted her to come live with us, but unfortunately, I think, you know, my mom had 5 kids. She was by herself. Financially, it probably would have helped her out if she could have took on some more responsibility, but my mother wasn't responsible for herself, her kids, let alone a handicapped person, you know what I mean? So that never happened. And I went to California, and I'm asking about my aunt, and I find out she's in a group home, foster home, not even one of those. She's actually in a nursing home.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we make no short notice of showing up to see her. And when we showed up, she had been in the nursing home by herself without a single visit for umpteen years. Who knows how long? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the last time I seen my aunt, she was talking to me, standing, you know, walking. Now she was shriveled up into a human pretzel, couldn't extend her appendages, you know, her arms or legs. They were all drawn up. She was, you know, bedridden. And she knew it was us, though. You know what I mean? Like, all the nurses, I'm trying not to get choked up. She's been passed away for quite a while, so I'm not a bully just because I'm not crying. I'm actually, you know, almost there. But I love my aunt, you know what I mean? But it was just crazy to see how of an impact on the staff. They were physically running and going and getting each other. Emily's got a visit. Emily's got a visit. Oh my God, Emily's got, because it'd been years and nobody could visit her, you know? Yeah. I held a very big grudge against my mother for that, you know what I'm saying? Because she passed away in that, you know what I mean? And that's unfortunate truth of the system that we have, you know what I mean? It starts breaking down very early in a family, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's drugs, maybe it's abuse, maybe it's financial burden, maybe it's the lack of parenting skills from the generation before handed down. But whatever it is, it's like a loaded gun, and it's going to go off at one point. And, you know, the repercussion is not being there for your loved ones when they need you. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I see nothing but broken homes.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, you know, she has a large family. I have a large family, but we are 100% alone. And we meet people every day that have the same story. You know what I mean? So it's unfortunate if you're handicapped and in a home and in the same situation, because now the only people that talk to you, have anything to do with you, are the people like you and Sadie.
Sure.
So hats off from somebody with a family member that's been taken care of. You guys do a great job, and, you know, I think that's amazing.
It's definitely a wonderful job to have. It's draining because it's always understaffed, and you always work for shitty people most of the time.
Yeah.
But, you know, you get to care for good people, you know, working for shitty people.
Yeah, absolutely. You're the person who's their advocate.
Right.
You're their main.
That's the only reason most good caregivers stay in the field, is because there's not very many good advocates out for them.
Sure, yeah.
So
if you had to do it all over again, would you take the same career path?
I think so.
That's what's up.
I think so. I've fallen in love with it. When I first was like thinking about what I wanted to do, it was actually voice acting. And I went over to Idaho and got to meet like one of my idols that did voice acting for like my favorite cartoon.
Okay, I was gonna say cartoons are porno, but
yeah, right.
He's the guy. Cut. No. He said cartoons. I said, oh yeah. So did you ever get into the voice acting or any of that? You ever get an opportunity to do any of that?
It's so cutthroat. I didn't realize how competitive it is to actually get your name out there with voice acting.
Right.
So I tried my hand at it for a few months, and it didn't get me anywhere. And I was like, I need to be able to do something that's gonna pay the bills.
Right.
This ain't doing it. So
what does the future hold for you guys? You guys gonna remain in contact with your siblings and try to hash out some of the issues facing your family still? And are you gonna remain on the same career path? Are you gonna stay in Spokane? What's the future hold for you guys?
Yeah, I'm going to be staying in Spokane for the next foreseeable future, and probably on the same career path. My goal is to probably build up my house for the next while, build some equity on that and flip that, and then at that point, see from there. May end up moving out east.
So, how about you? What's your future hold?
So I definitely want to stay in healthcare. It's something that I've fallen in love with, and I feel like my compassion kind of reflects that. But I've wanted to also go back to school and possibly get like a registered nurse degree or like an anesthesiologist degree, just because it's more lucrative, and I have a baby on the way.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Going to be born in April, and I want to make sure that his life is cushy and comfortable as I was treated as a kid, because we didn't have money growing up, but my parents always made it happen for us.
Yeah, I was the always make it happen guy for my siblings, because my mom was pretty far gone on drugs. But yeah, sometimes when it's not handed down or easy, it means more.
Sure.
You know, when somebody goes that far out of the way to make sure you had something. Everybody's got this big old pile of presents if their parents are rich, and they dig to the bottom to find something that's cooler than the first thing on top.
Sure.
Right.
And when you have nothing, you know what I mean? Even just a hug. I have a small, quick story. We're going to have to cut this up, but we grew up so poor one year. My mom had nothing to give us for Easter. Not a basket, not eggs. It's $1 or $2 for 12 eggs. Like, we didn't have that, you know? And she took us on a walk, and we ended up getting down on the ground and seeing an ant heel or hole or whatever the hell you want to call it, you know what I mean? A hole in the ground where the ants go.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And there's this line of ants going in and out of the hole, you know? And she's got 5 kids, so we're literally all on our bellies laying around this ant hole watching my mom tell us about ants and how they work together. And she took a little piece of grass and she put it in the ant hole, and we watched the ants all gather around and grab that piece of grass and hike it out of the hole. And I'm 44 years old telling this stupid ass story on a podcast. I think I was 10 years old when that happened, and it's the most heartfelt memory from my mom, you know, because she was a drug addict and she wasn't the best at doing her job, but at that moment, you know, she hit the nail on the head, you know what I mean?
It had that much impact on in that, you know, on you, that it's still
take the small times to make the things count that you wouldn't think do, because that's what you hold on to. You know, it's crazy, like my memories that I go back onto, they're never the ones that I prepared. You know what I mean? You find joy in walking on the side of the highway after a flat in the rain. It was not fun then, but 5 years later, when you bring it up, you're like, remember when we had to walk in the rain on that flat? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the little moments that I remember from my dad.
Is there any shout outs that you guys got? Any social medias? Anybody you'd like to say hi to? Any shout outs to say to the camera?
That's a good question.
Shout out to the family.
Yeah.
The brothers and the sisters. How about you? Anybody? You got a social media? A neighbor whose dog won't quit barking? Stop your barking dog.
Not really. Yeah, just the family.
Right on.
Really
well,
good.
we really appreciate you guys coming on, and if you guys want to come up with some more stories, we'll have you back on for part 2.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Sound good?
Thank you guys for
Guys,
joining.
thanks for having us.
Right on. If you guys like what you've seen and you would like to click on the link and subscribe, help the channel out, maybe share this with a friend, the one, the only Tattoo Podcast Ink Reviews. Bye, guys.
See ya.